Welcome back to NewsMaker Live with Laura. If it's Wednesday, it's NewsMaker Live, where we make your stories our stories. Sitting with me is Miss Silis from Raise Your Voice, and we've been talking about gender parity, Raise Your Voice, and some of the activities that they have planned for the year as it pertains to women, leading, or at least leading up to International Women's Day, which is celebrated on March 8th every year. So, Catherine, before we went on break, we talked about a number of things. We talked about the single-parent households and how they impact rearing children. We also spoke about your consultation, which is going to be held in Miku on Friday at 6 o'clock, and some of the things that just remind us some of the consultations that you'll be having on, and tell us where, if we cannot make it to Miku, where else can we?
Well, Miku is the first one. We're going to discuss what you do and how do you recognize child abuse, domestic violence, how do you report it, what is the process, what you do. Then we're going to speak on legal issues as to the rights and privileges of women. We're going to discuss divorce, how you'd go about that, and
in particular the rights as it pertains to common law relationships.
Common law relationships is very important. Child support is very important. Succession, you know, if your partner dies or if you die, what happens, and stuff like that. Because
let me ask you a question as we're on this thing. In the first segment, you talked about when a man dies and the woman does not have he's how they say it in Patois, the bien paka ali, you know, to the woman. She can just go to the bank and say, okay, I'm withdrawing his money or sell his vehicle or sell his property. It goes to his siblings or his offspring.
It goes to his oldest sibling.
Oh, not even the offspring.
In that order. No, but the law states that it goes to your mother. If your mother is not alive, it goes to your oldest sibling. So if your father is old, your brother is older, or your sister is older, it goes to either or. Huh. Yeah, it doesn't come to you. You have no status.
The children, but your children, what about your children?
Are you married? The law was not written to support. The law was initially. I did some research, and the law was actually generated from the Catholic doctrine. So it came from religion. Religion never recognized common law and relationships that are not sealed by marriage. So at the end of the day, unmarried women and unmarried women always at a disadvantage. I'm not saying that people should get married.
So you mean in 2016 it's still not kosher to shack up and to have your children?
Well, you can decide to do what you want.
But your children,
but your partner must understand, if you're not going to formalize your relationship into a marriage, then you need to formalize it in a living will. You know, so,
and the same applies to the men. If the female dies and she was maybe the main breadwinner and she had all of the assets and whatever, it still goes to her eldest
sibling.
Oh my God.
Or mother. So, you know, this is why some people pass away and then you find that the mother of the child mother, as we say in our local language, comes out with nothing because they have no standing as law, and then they didn't make any provisions in a will. So you find, for example, if your partner dies and you have the bank card, you can decide to take out all the money. But if you don't have the bank card, you have to get letters of administration, and then you have to get the support of the family of that man to be able to do that.
But if you were to decide, okay, the man dies, I have the bank card, I'm going to take out the money, his mother or his siblings can still take it to task.
Contest it, yes. So, you know, in 2016, as I usually say, women must understand their strength, they must understand their worth. If women were to decide we are not voting, no one would win an election, because women are always the people who vote first, who mobilize votes, who say let's vote. Men don't really care. Some of them don't even have an ID card. So women now need to see, in this election season day, this is the time where the political parties put their mandate, put in their manifesto, designing their mandates and things. We need to send a paper to the government to see. We would like you to change this part of the law that is disadvantageous to us. We need you to increase the child support and make it means-based. When I say means-based, if a man is working as a land surveyor, and I know of that instance, he still gives his child $200. He's working as a land surveyor. And
I understand. So you're saying whether it doesn't matter what his socioeconomic status is,
while
he is only obligated to give that $200.
While the magistrate can say, can you give more? She cannot enforce it because it's not written in law. She can only ask you, and if you agree, well, it's good. But most of them don't agree.
Even those who make $10,000 a month.
No, there are people that make thousands of dollars and they decide they have feeding child and they manipulate, they get lawyers to go to the family
even those
courts.
who raise their children for the first 10 years of their life, and these children have become accustomed to a lifestyle that you provided for them, and all of a sudden you and mommy are not together anymore and she's plunged into destitution, that child is not provided for?
No, they don't. In some instances there are men who love their children and will go out of their way. I can speak for a number of situations that men just decide, you know what, you've moved on, I've moved on, I'm not taking care of children. I know people who are just getting a divorce, and even with a court order, they decide, I am not feeding any children.
I heard somewhere that if a mother, parents are divorced, and the mother remarries, that the father is no longer obligated to the children, that it's the stepfather who has to step. Are you serious?
But if your partner dies and you're getting a stipend from the NIC, if you get married or you're living with a man, they stop the stipend. It's written in law. So
while you married and you have children with this man and you're divorced, until your children are 18 and the man is no longer legally obligated to take care of his progeny, I cannot move on with my life. I cannot remarry. I cannot.
One of the things, I'm not very clear on the common law relationship for 18-year-olds, but I know when you are married, and even if you're divorced, child support does not stop at 18 automatically, unless of course you're an adult and you're working. But if you're going to school, you're still obligated to take care of children. And sometimes the court order says that, and the men just disregard it and they go about their merry way.
Are you serious?
Yeah, the situation is not equal to women, and they don't seem to understand that.
And all of those situations will be discussed at those town hall meetings.
This is what we want to educate women on, so they understand that this thing is not going to work for me. I have to demand that it gets put in place. There was a revision to the laws of St. Lucia. I don't think they make any revisions to, as it speaks to women. As such, we do not have a gender policy. So
we still don't.
We don't have a gender policy. We have bits and pieces of legislation flying around the place, and you know, if you have a good lawyer, you may be able to take it to court. But how many of the women that are going through these things, you know, that can afford to pay a lawyer to go to court to fight stuff? Sometimes they just give up. And people don't understand that when the laws were written, they were not written to give women power. At that time, women could not even vote. So we need a rewrite. And we are not saying that because we are simply women. I'm saying that because it is the right thing to do. And we cannot expect women to be online voting on election day. And we are not giving anything in return. We need to give something. The bills, the family law bills that were drafted by the OECS almost 8 years ago needs to be reviewed and enacted so that children born out of wedlock and people that are not married can have an equal share in whatever it is they and their partners were sharing when they were together and things were nice, and when the partner has passed away. I mean, in 2016, we should not be sitting here speaking about this. We have 3 female parliamentarians, and we do not hear they taking any special interests. We're not hearing they speaking on behalf of women. We are not hearing they making any big push to have laws reviewed to reflect that women are equal to men, because we are human beings, we should be equal. We say we are equal under the law, we are equal. We are not equal. This is just written just to pacify people.
We are going to be taking calls and joining you. St. Lucia can join in the conversation with us. So the number would be put on the screen, and when it comes up, you can feel free to give us a call and join in the conversation. I'm speaking with Miss Silis from Raise Your Voice, and she's telling us a little bit more about her organization and some of the plans that they have planned leading up to International Women's Day, which is on March 8th. 2016, and we're talking about the disparity between men and women and some of the things that women need to know when getting into a common law relationship, getting divorced, etc. So
we are hoping, and this is a new organization, although we do quite a lot of the things we do, you know, you cannot come and speak about it, because I would hate to think that somebody would sit with me and help me out and then they speak about it. So we never reference and we never see who we help. You know, sometimes I find myself doing stuff that I'm asking myself, so how did I find myself in that? But do I really have a choice? No, I don't. And the situation is really terrible when it comes to domestic violence, when it comes to rape, when it comes to child abuse, when it comes to access to justice for women. I know women who tell me 10 years they were raped. The man walks in town, he going to work, he in his car, he well his fellows off in town, and the woman is traumatized and nothing has been done. I am hoping that by February latest that we have a DPP that can start to review these cases and then start to, you know, do what needs to be done. We cannot continue like that. We seem to be in a vacuum when it comes to things concerning women. We know children who were raped at 6, 7, they're 15, 16, 17, they're 18, and the case has not come to court. This is wrong. And you know, my greatest disappointment is the fact that a woman is heading gender relations, human services, and these agencies. We're not hearing anything about them.
We have a call online? Okay, we have our first call. Thank you for calling NewsMaker Live with Laura. You're on the air.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
I enjoy this program because I believe this program is long delayed. But I believe, you see, the problem doesn't just stem from women and the position, the way they're seen. I believe that women have equality of rights. But the fundamental point is that women do not see the importance of the male figure in the family. And that have been eroded over the years.
Now, is it the fault of the woman that she does not see the importance of the male figure, or is it because the male now has removed himself from the equation or has shifted his responsibility to the extent where women now feel that they can do it on their own and they don't need a man? So they have been reacculturated to not need a man.
It is both ways, because you see, it is bigger than just a man or a woman. A family is integrated by a man, a woman, and kids. A lot of the times, men are forced to leave the relationship they're in because they cannot live with that particular woman. And then the problems start over kids. That man now put up with another relationship, and he take off relationship with that other female with kids. He now have to bear that burden, but because there's the absenteeism of the man.
But you know what, caller, though, I do a lot of social work and I interact with a lot of people. And just over the holidays, I had one particular case come to me, wherein there's this guy. He is a married man. He is stepping out of his relationship. His wife is still being faithful to him. He is stepping out of the relationship. He is having an adulterous affair with another woman. He hasn't informed her. And despite the fact that we say, oh, St. Lucia is small, everybody's supposed to know everybody and whatever, it ain't that easy, because you're living a hectic lifestyle, you're going about your business, trying to make ends meet. And here you are, forced to have an adulterous relationship with a man who has shirked his responsibility to his wife. Now, suppose this man has children with his wife, and he has children with his lover. He has to share himself between his bona fide home with his wife, his marital home, and this adulterous home. Somebody is going to suffer, and often, as is this case, it is the adulterous home which is going to suffer. The children begot from this relationship are the ones going to suffer, because he's not always going to be around. He's not going to have as much time for his illicit children that he's going to have for his children with his wife. Right? So a lot of the times the men put themselves in those situations where, you know, they're just shirking their responsibility, or they're thinking that they're macho and they can do it all. And two women now that you have that are being burnt by one man, and so both of them decide, when, you know, eventually I'm hoping that when they both find out about each other, and that they will push him aside.
I quite agree with you, but don't you think relationships is a mutual thing?
Of course it's a mutual thing.
Exactly.
But when you come into a relationship based on lies,
you have to understand that persons are culpable and responsible for the action.
Yes. So who's responsible here?
If we're going to play the blame game, and that is what we have been doing in St. Lucia for the longest while, we want to place blame on everywhere instead of solving the problem.
But who is? But you first must know what the problem is. Who is at fault?
We know what it is. We know what it is. The problems are glaring.
What are the problems?
We want to place blame, and that is why we have so many problems.
But we must know who to blame so that we can fix the situation.
No. We don't need to know who to blame. We need to solve the problems.
But how do you solve the problem, sir? How do you solve the problem if you do not know the root of the problem?
We have kids who are suffering because the male parents are out of their life.
Because sometimes they have caused themselves to be out of it.
Listen to me for a while. It is not because of choice, because they are forced to. We have how many females who neglect their children? The fathers take care of them, period. And we never hear about child support or nothing like that. You see, too often we want to play the blame game and want to stigmatize and crucify the male. And that is why we have all these problems. If we're going to look at the issues, let us look at it holistically.
But I must say, Miss Sillis she has been looking at it holistically and looking at both sides of it.
That is one of the programs that was doing a little bit of justice. But I could still see the tilting in the favor of women.
Well, of course, because for the most part, sir, but for the most part, sir, you will accept that the vast majority of single homes are headed by women. We cannot escape. We cannot escape that. And so if you have to fix and ameliorate a situation, the first place to start is the majority of the people affected. And in this case, the majority of the people affected are women. We're not saying that men are not affected, but we're saying that women are mostly affected.
I agree with that. But lay all the cards on the table. Don't deal with some. Let us deal with all. Because if we're going to try to lay blame even before we start looking at the problems, we're creating a bigger problem. And that is why we have so many problems. We have too many single parents raising children, and they want these children to love them, and we create menace to the society.
I quite agree.
We need to look at this thing holistically.
Thank you so much for your call and for your contribution. We quite appreciate it. And there was some valid points in what you were saying. Catherine, what say you to this?
My mother was a single woman. She raised 12 of us. I think we're always proud of the fact that she raised us well. We respect everybody. We respect ourselves. We respect our mother. and I raised my children as a single parent. I did not choose, but the relationship was not something that I was proud of, and I didn't think I could raise my children well in it. So I had to leave it in order to raise my children well. And I am always offended when people feel that single parents are bad parents and single parents cannot raise children. There's no truth to that. I raised my children alone, and my children are fine.
Let's pause there. We have another call online. Thank you for calling Newsmaker Live with Laura. We lost the call. So, but his point is that we're focusing a lot of the time. We have another call. Thank you for calling Newsmaker Live with Laura. You on the air?
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm not as well as you.
Ooh, looks could be deceiving.
Now, let me preface my comments by saying...
Can you speak a little louder?
Okay,
I can hardly hear you.
Let me preface my comments
Uh-huh.
by saying that I fully support all men feeding the children and taking care of the children. I have personally taken some men to task, men that I know, for not feeding the children. Having said that, I want to categorically state that I know men have taken the brunt of the battering when it comes to taking care of the children. And it seems obvious that a lot of people place the blame on men. I think women too must take their fair share of responsibility and blame in this whole issue. A lot of it says that the man not doing this, the man not doing that. But let's face it, what are some of the women doing out there to support themselves, their families? And trust me, there are a lot of men that are doing a lot out there for their children, or they want to do, or they would like to do. And either they are not allowed to, or they have been barred from doing, or some women hold them to ransom. And some women, all they care about is the money, you know. All they want is the money.
I will admit that there are some gold diggers. There are some women.
A lot, who, not some, a lot.
No, I will not say a lot. That's
Plenty.
no, that's pushing it. That there are some women who are gold diggers, and that there are some women who are in it for the money. But for the most part, more women out there hustle. They work 2, 3, 4 jobs in some instances. They do any amount of things for their children to ensure that their children survive and have a good education and get the best of everything that they can afford. And you find for every man who takes up his responsibility as a single father, there are maybe 5 of them who are doing nothing, or who are creating situations whereby single families headed by mothers prevail.
Okay.
And that is not a stretch of the imagination. That is not a stretch of anything. This is facts. Every day a man goes out and he has an adulterous affair. Every day a man goes out and cheats on his spouse, but be it marital spouse or common law spouse. He is creating a situation whereby a woman or 2 are going to be hurt and going to say, listen, I want to have nothing to do with you, and they're going to have to raise the kids which he fathered by themselves. And because he is so hurt that he has lost all of his hens in his coop, he is going to say, you know what, I want to have nothing to do with you, and you're going to raise your kids by yourself. Never mind that he was a part of the whole equation. I'm not saying that it's every man, but I'm saying that there are some men who are like that. A lot of men.
Okay, it's not just like that. And when you're going to step out and bravely say that the man goes out there and engages in an adulterous relationship, he's not doing it with dog and cat and pig and goat.
True.
He's doing it with women.
But how
so
often?
Hold on. I allowed you a while ago. Please allow me.
But how often does he tell the truth about his marital status?
A lot of times. A lot of the men do. Other women know.
You speaking from experience?
Sorry?
Are you speaking from experience? I'm going to do to you what a caller did to me one time.
If I'm speaking from a lot of other things, but including experience. But what I want to bring across is that the women are equally culpable in the whole thing, you know. Because it's not like the man just attacked them and impose that upon them. You
Yeah,
know?
but maybe he painted a picture that they bought, you know, and only to find out that it is, it's not the same.
If you and your guests, if you and your guests, the way you also eloquently describe some of these situations, really take these things into consideration. A lot of the women plan to go after that man or that man or that man,
really?
whether he married. There are women.
There are some women. I'm not saying no. I'm not saying no. I'm not saying no. But there are some women who calculate like that. But then there are a lot of men who calculate just as much to get to a woman without full disclosure.
But at the same time, I just don't believe it's fair to men that we now want to place all the blame, especially financial blame and all the blame, squarely on the shoulders. Women
but it's not,
have to
really.
take their fair share of the blame as well.
But really, but hold on. Let me ask you a question. When a man contributes $200 towards his child's upkeep for a month, right? It's a month, right? And then in that month, that child, maybe $1,000 or more is spent on that child. Do you think that's a fair amount? When the mother now has to contribute that $800, she has to provide a home, she has to provide the clothing and the food and everything else.
Let me stop you right there. I agree with you, you know. I believe that the responsibility should be shared 50-50. But what the expectation is of a lot of women is that the 100% must be borne by the man. That's the expectation. Okay, if you say that $200 is due from the man, let's just say that's what it is by the law. Where is the reciprocal $200 from the woman?
She provides the house, she provides the food, she provides the clothing, she sends them to school, she buys the school books, she gives them, you know how much money it is spent on one child in a month just to send that child to school, just for food?
And you know how many fathers give more than that amount of money that gets spent on hair I buy and nails I want to put on and nice dress and nice clothes.
The vast majority of men will put their $200 that as obligated by the law, and that's it.
I know of a case right here in St. Lucia.
And
hold on, let me give you that case where a gentleman was giving a woman a certain amount of money a month. Right here in St. Lucia. Her friend started to whisper words of foolishness in her ears, and she figured she'll take the man to court because she wants more money. Okay? She took the man to court, and they gave her $200 a month. So she went back door now and tell the man, well, you know something, because give me back the 600 you used to give me a month. Give me back that because what the court saying for the 200. She was not satisfied with $600 a month.
Yeah, and you will find, as I said earlier, you will find that there are gold diggers and foolish people.
To balance it. Let's balance it. Let's balance it. Because a woman, say for example, I come and check you. I could afford to take care of my child. Okay, I talk to you. You accept me, or you don't accept me. But let's for this instance say you don't accept me. You don't want me. You don't care about me. No problem. You have the right to do that. But you want to go and pick up a zombie or a fella that's not working. You have a child for him, and then now you want to say the man not taking care of his child. Eh? Come on, you know they have a lot of that going on in the country. There's a lot of that. I wish I could meet you. I can't tell you certain things over the air, but I wish I could meet you one-on-one, and I give you instances, I give you scenarios, I give you everything.
Give me a call, 284-6536.
284-6536.
Yes, and then we'll have a chat.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much for calling.
Take care.
Yes, Catherine. I mean, we hear every time I do a show. Along those veins, you get the men, and a lot of the times men call, a lot of men call, and they're outraged. We have another call online. Thank you for calling NewsMakerLive with Laura. You're on the air.
Hi, good evening, Laura.
Good evening.
Good evening to your guest.
Good evening.
It's a pleasure to listen to you all, and you know, as a man, yes, let me get involved. I just had a beautiful conversation also with my girlfriend about things like that, and I think we're taking a few things for granted. When we hear this labeling of $200 or putting a cost to maintaining a child, I think it is, yes, it's something in the law, but we need not speak about those things. What we need to speak about is a man and a woman sitting down and discussing the possibility of raising a family. Absolutely. Discussing the possibility of having a child. What happens in our society today is, yes, and let me not blame them too much, a lot of women go out there I want a child because that's a way of life for me. Okay, it's a way of life. It's a way of income for me, and which is bad. We need to. I want to hear as part of that discussion maybe some other day where we can sit down and say, hey, let us train our young boys and young girls to sit down and discuss sex first. Discuss children. What happens to it? You know, what's happening outside right now is you go out one night stand, you have a child, and then you go to court. There's no family. There's no God. There's no belief in this true family life. It should not be about a labeled $200 and asking the government or the judiciary to increase it. It's not. It should not be about that. It should be about our religious beliefs, the sanity of having a child, bringing a human being into the earth. Okay, discussing that first. You know, I'm a grown man. I don't have a kid yet. It's not because I can't make children. It's because I have to plan it properly. I cannot just bring a kid into the earth and figure it will be fed, it will be schooled, or he or she will go to university. It needs to be planned. Too many of those things are just unplanned. Too many of them are just random. And then we blame the men in our society. Like your previous caller, I mean, I respect my mother and I will not blame women. I will not blame women. I respect my mother and my sister and my girlfriend and everybody else. But we have to cast the blame also on the other side. Okay? I already asked for experiences. I can give you a lot of experience of things that could have happened to me, but no, because of prayer, because of proper guidance, I don't allow them to happen to me. But if I were to go down that road, maybe I would have 10 children just because of the carelessness of some women and some men, including myself.
Wait. Because of the carelessness, you could have had 10 children. You could have had, no, but this is the statement you made. You could have had 10 children because of the carelessness of some women and some males. Isn't it you and them in the relationship? And furthermore, I know you misspoke. I'm just pulling your leg. But furthermore, it cannot be because of the carelessness of some female. Both parties are responsible for ensuring that they're protected. So you can't leave it up to her, nor should she leave it up to you. So if you could have had 10 children, it's not just because of her negligence, it's also because of yours.
I did say inclusive of myself.
Right. Okay.
I did say that. Okay. Yes, I did say that. But thanks a lot. Nice show, Laura. Again, I always appreciate listening to you, but I would have loved, I will appreciate one day if you actually bring a few persons on your show to discuss, hey, how to train boys and girls. Let's go deeper into our society and figure the problem is not about the cost of raising a child, but the discussions we should have before sex. Because sex brings about children.
Absolutely. I will
Thank you very much.
Certainly do that. Thank you so much for your call. Now, I just wanted to share something. This man says that the last caller said that some women actually go and have children because it's a way of life. We'll take this call and then I'll share this thing that my girlfriend who's pregnant right now sends to me. Thank you for calling NewsMakerLive with Laura. You're on the air.
Yes, hi, good night.
Good night.
Yes. I believe the first two callers, since they were men, they were trying to justify the fact that men work out on their wives and or their families, and it's okay. But if we look at it, the majority of single homes are headed by the mothers.
Absolutely.
And I believe that there's no way to justify it.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. I'm not hearing you. Okay, we lost that call, but she was making so I'm not sure if the viewers at home could hear her, but she was saying something about the fact that the majority of single parents households are headed by the mother. We have another call online. Thank you for calling NewsMakerLive with Laura. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, in regards to your call, to your statement, what I want to
Can you speak up, please?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, what I want to find out is that in the case where a child is growing up in a home without a father, right? Is there a way that, for example, let's say the child keeps on asking mommy, I want to see my dad, I want to spend time with my dad, okay? What law there is to put in place for this child to have that kind of connection with that dad? Because most of the time when the mothers would reach out to the dad that the child wants to spend time with him and stuff, that he would reject or He wouldn't make up stories that he doesn't want to see the child, that he's busy or he's always at work, always making up stories.
So the question you're asking is there a law that mandates fathers to spend time with their children?
Yes.
I don't know if there's such a law. Catherine, do you know if there's such a law?
I'm not aware of that. I think that's a moral obligation. I don't think there is, I don't think it's a law. I think it's an obligation that you're a child's father and you make a decision as a personal decision. I don't think it's something you can put into law. If we had to put that into law, I think half of the men would be in jail.
Does that answer your question?
Well, yes, I'm quite satisfied with that answer. But another thing again that I wanted to bring to find out is that when in the case of a single parent, we're raising the children, what the men fail to realize is that the $200 that they're putting towards the family court for that child, it's not sufficient. At the end of the day, like you mentioned earlier, the mother have to pay bills, take care of the child, send the child to school, you know, provide clothing, shelter for that child. And with the father putting the $200, it's not enough. And like the lady earlier who mentioned that we women should step up, we should say something, because right now, like she said, there are 3 women who are ministers who could speak on behalf of us as
Absolutely.
we women.
Absolutely.
We have not heard them saying anything.
Absolutely.
What is going on? There are a lot of women out there, I guess, like she mentioned earlier, and she was right, that we women should put our feet down and say that no, we are not voting. Enough is enough, that we are not voting unless that something is being put in place for we women.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your contribution. And you know, she's quite right. I mean, we have 3 women parliamentarians, and we don't hear them speaking about the issues that affect women. I mean, we are already marginalized in the House of Parliament. We only have 3 out of a possible.
We allow ourselves to be marginalized because we have more women than men in St. Lucia. But you know, women need to stand up and say, this needs to change. When I say, they say, that woman always there, she beats her, she always have a problem. I don't have a problem. I have a very good relationship, I have a very good home. But they personalize it to me as if I have a problem. I don't have a problem.
Let me just share this. I was the last gentleman who called. Are you still online? Our call. Okay, I think she's up now. Okay, so I was trying to share something with our last male caller, where he was saying that some women have it as a lifestyle to have children. And I'm saying that we have our last call for the evening. Thank you for calling Newsmaker Live with Laura. You're on the air.
Hey, Laura. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you, Laura.
Many happy returns.
And to your guest.
Thank you.
No. I have a problem with somebody.
You just had to sneak that call in there, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's go.
Laura, I have a problem with somebody in the first place. I heard a caller first say about the $200 that is true. $200 care feed no child. The problem I have, you're bringing the fathers to court for child maintenance. He puts the money there, and you are refused to go and collect it. I don't mean you all know. I mean,
there's a woman out there who refuses to go and collect her $200 at family court.
And just to do what? When the money pile up, to take it and go to the margin and shop. Papi sure, you said the child hungry.
To go and shop.
Yeah, you said the child hungry. But you take any money to go to Papi show. Papi, no, that making sense. They should arrest this man.
There are actually people who do that?
Yes. It happened, Laura. I know if it happened to friends of mine. That happened to me because I think about
shopping for.
You mean they're shopping for themselves?
Yeah. And have the butter and the children.
So what happens during the preceding months?
But Laura, the best thing, you know, the children not even with the mothers. The children somewhere else, you know. But the fathers put in money in the quotas for them every month, and then when the money
so it's like, is there like a susu?
Right. instead of taking the money to take care of the child, they're going to have the bottle with the ex-man, travel over there, party there, carnival there.
I think you're just pulling my legs on that one.
No, it is serious. It happened.
We will have to. I will have to make a call to family court.
Yes.
And to find out if there are actually women.
And Laura,
I don't need to know the details, just to know if there are actually women who don't collect the $200 every month.
It's happened, I tell you. That can happen. I can give you a few names off air, but I'm on air, but I won't do that now.
Give me a call. I gave my number earlier. I'm sure you were listening.
Well, give it again.
284-6536.
Give it again.
284-6536.
Okay, no problem.
Okay,
right.
Wonderful. Thanks for calling. You our last caller.
Yeah.
But the previous caller was just trying to share something, and I don't think women actually have children as a lifestyle. There's this thing. It says a human body can bear only up to 45 dells or units of pain. 45. Yet at time of giving birth, a mother can suffer up to 57 units of pain. A human body can deal with 47, but during birth, the mother will deal with up to 57 dells or units of pain. That speaks to the love and pain that a mother goes through. Now, I don't think any woman, after the first time, if this is the lifestyle you want for yourself, after the first one, I don't think you're going to have another going through that kind of pain. And they're saying that's this is similar to 20 bones getting fractured at one time. 20 bones. You went through that twice, eh? Twice you went through that. So I'm just saying, for people like me who ain't got no kids, that is really a sort of contraception right there, you know. Yeah, I don't think so. But I highly doubt that there are many women who would just want to have kids as a lifestyle. So final words.
I always find men take offense when women want to stand up for themselves and their rights.
Offense.
You know, we have a cabinet full of men. They are the ones at the end of the day that have to decide, okay, we're going to do the women the little women a little favor and change a law there, law there. We are saying that there are things in law and there are things in the governance of this country that's not equal to women. Men can do the same. And we are not saying men are all bad. That's not what we are saying. We are looking for what is right for us. The men can do the same thing. And we don't want them to behave as if it's a fight. It's not a fight. We have decided what we want for ourselves. You decide what you want for yourself and form a group and come and campaign, come and advocate for what is right for you. We have decided that women are unequal in a number of areas, in the law, in a number of areas. I think education is one of the few places in St. Lucia. I don't know if it's because of our size or because of the structure of the education system, which really and truly you must educate your child or else it's a criminal offense. Our education system is pretty equal. The women always do better. So could you imagine giving the women carte blanche to be equal? Are we afraid that they'll be better than the men?
Maybe. Food for thought.
Is that something, you think about it. So our job here tonight is to represent women and children. We are not saying that men are not good. That's not what we're saying. We are saying $200 a month cannot feed any child. And if I did not collect the money for 1 year, the child did not go hungry, she not go dirty, she went to school, then I spend the $200 on your behalf. When I collect it in December, I can do what I want with it because I've already taken care of that child. Unless, of course, there is a few instances where you just don't take care of your child. It's unfair. So our job here tonight is to represent the inequality that women face. And we want to remind women that on Friday, the 29th of January, at the Midcoast Multipurpose Center, we start our first meeting there. The second meeting going to be in Vieux Fort at the Town Hall. It's the following Friday. It's the same 6 o'clock. The agenda for the meetings remain the same because you would appreciate we deal with different sets of women, so we want to give them the same information. We want to raise their awareness on their rights, on their privileges, on their obligations. There are rights, there are privileges, there are obligations, so it doesn't come free. And we want to make sure we strengthen the way of life. The way of life. There are some people. Like, for example, if you were to stay in Cap Estate every day, put up your glass and drive to work and back, you really don't know what's going on. When you want to know what's going on, you need to put yourself in the community and you need to speak to people. You need to go and find out what is happening because it's not pretty. They have a lot of poverty, a lot of underprivileged people. And speaking about underprivileged people, when we... in another life, when we were complaining about the hospital, didn't have medication, didn't have supplies, and a lot of women were coming to us to complain. We decided, okay, we're going to complain. Then we said, well, after we complain, what happens?
Yes.
Then we decided, you know what, we need to do something about this. So we put out our survey, and we're happy to report that we've signed a multi-million-dollar medical supplies and medicine agreement with an organization out of the US called Americas. They're going to be providing medicine.
And that was done by women?
That was done by women. Of medicine and medical supplies. And while at the time, because St. Jude's was under such pressure, we decided it was St. Jude's. When we finally came through, we realized we can do it with everybody. So you find St. Jude's going to get, Victoria Hospital going to get, Denry going to get, Suffolk going to get, the 33 health centers going to get, the mental wellness. And so underprivileged people in the next month and a half can go to the hospital, and if the supplies that they need and the medicine they have is available, they have to get it free of charge. We want people to know about this because when this program starts, we do not want anybody charging anybody for this. And we're in the process of packing the container. We have some pretty expensive and necessary drugs that will be in that first shipment. And we're hoping it is our way to contribute to this country because this country belongs to all of us, no matter who and what we are. And then we got into this group because we keep helping people one day. We said, well, you know, we need to consolidate so that we can do something better. And that's what we're doing. And we're hoping that women will come along with us and support us and contribute.
And not just women, eh? We're talking about the men who want to support the women as well.
Oh, we want the men to support us too, because we need money to do stuff. We need a lot of things to be done.
Yes. Okay, so this is the time that we have for now. And so this is on Friday.
This is on Friday.
And then on next week Friday,
we're in Vieux-Fort.
Okay, sorry, in Vieux-Fort.
Now
okay.
the Vieux-Fort meeting is for Labrie, Choiseul, and Vieux-Fort. And when we're talking about Vieux-Fort, we're talking about Vieux-Fort. People tend to divide now. Vieux-Fort, not Vieux-Fort. It's Vieux-Fort.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So Vieux-Fort will encapsulate all of Vieux-Fort, Labrie, and Choiseul. Okay, yes. Very well. So I hope I get some flyers to hand out for you.
Yes, actually we've made the flyers and we will do that.
Wonderful. So I will do this. This has been another episode of Newsmaker Live with Laura. I'm so grateful to be back. I've missed this so much. But it would be remiss of me if I said goodbye and didn't say hello to a few people. Now, quickly, baby William, he's not yet born. We love him. And we love him so much, his mom feels offended. So I'm saying hello to Kayla and baby William. They're not here, but I know they're listening. A class of 93, Vieux-Fort Comprehensive Secondary School, class of 93. I know some of you are listening. Hello to you guys. Aisha, get better soon. You're the best. I hope you get better, and I hope we see you tomorrow. Emran Korsol, I know you're listening. I know you're not here, but you're listening. Thank you so much. You were my very, very, very first viewer to say hello. We have an anniversary coming up. We must work on that. And of course, to my wonderful cousin, Rick Wayne, happy 100th birthday. I know it's voodoo for you, but hey, I love birthdays. Happy birthday, Rick. See you later.